What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start the show by being transparent. Yesterday, I did have a winner at the over 216 in Spurs and Thunder, and it got there pretty comfortably, pretty easily. So that brings NBA playoffs to 30 and 13 for myself. And yeah, then just chugging right along. Playoffs continue to go in the right direction. Vino, great to be back with you for another day. How's everything on your end?
It was good, Skee. Yesterday was really good in that game. 3-0 on that game.
There we go.
Like you, full game total. I think we pretty much laid it out there yesterday. We both agreed on that. I also took the halftime first half over, which was 127. By the time they were done scoring, the number was only 110 and a half. And then I had mentioned here that San Antonio was 4-0 in the first quarter, and I didn't think they could make it 5-0. Played OKC first quarter. They did just enough, got there by half a point, but that's good enough for me. So 3-0 yesterday. Skee jacks it up now to plus 16 units for the playoffs. So again, I mean, if we added a bunch more yesterday, it was like 64 units yesterday. It's probably over 70 now. So good
So
work.
just keep going in the right direction, man. Playoffs is what we've been waiting for. It's just paying off right now. All right. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Kev over here says that that over was easy money. Yeah, the first quarter had me a little irritated just because they missed about like 10 layups. But outside of that, it was pretty easy. All right. Geo in the house, Mark in the house. Everybody's showing up now. Appreciate you guys. Vegas Bruce. Um, appreciate you guys. All right. WNBA only today. We're going to start at the top. Mercury and Liberty opened up -5.5 for New York, down to 4. Total open 172, down as low as 169 out there. Injury report, we have Satu, game time decision. Sabrina, Sabrina and Fado are both out. Um, for the Mercury, Makani is actually game time decision, and Sammy Whitcomb looks like she's continuing to be out here. For the Mercury, they do have the rest advantage, and I feel like they've been playing well. I was gonna say I feel like they've been playing better basketball than the Liberty. The Liberty just been I don't know. It's the same shit they did last year to start the season, and just they're back to it again. And it's hard to trust them. I know this is a playoff rematch. I don't know. Usually these kind of games are my favorite games on the slate. But this one is really my least favorite today. Vino, any thoughts from you on Mercury and Liberty?
Well, first off, it's the first of two. So if you wanted to counter punch, you could watch today and play on Friday, Saturday. They play again on the 29th. So you could definitely counter punch if you wanted to. I think for New York Skee, they've got just about every single piece back. If Sabali does play tonight, remember she got sick in the first quarter last game, got a questionable tag next to her name today. But if she does play, you've got everybody except Ionescu in the lineup. Laney Hamilton back, Lonnie Phoebus back. It's a pretty deep roster. The problem I have with them is you're trying to work all these pieces in. Since last week, they've just been bringing players back. It's just hard to incorporate everybody and be on the same wavelength all at once. Where the Phoenix side is concerned, of course, finally getting a Koa Makani back at point guard. That's going to be a little bit of a process for them as well. They played without her to open the season, so it's her season debut. Probably too many question marks for me in this one. New York is off back-to-back home losses. I never like to play against a team that's, a better than 500 team in that type of situation. You would think New York has a little bit of pride and bounce back in them. But again, there's just too many question marks on both sides here. I don't know how these teams are going to look. So for me, it would be probably the approach that I mentioned to start this analysis, where I watch tonight, counter punch in the next game, off of what happens here, see what I like, what I don't like. The one thing I will say is the Sabrina injury. She made a comment that said, I came back way sooner than I should have. and all of a sudden she was rested in the second of back to backs, and now she's out again with this back injury. So I wonder how serious that's going to be for New York at this point. Maybe, in that game against Dallas, she tested it. It didn't go real well. She wasn't good at shooting that day, 4 of 15, I think, from the field. Maybe that's an issue for New York here because they had a lot of turnovers their last game. They need some ball handlers to take over here.
Um, I'm looking at these. The one thing that it's just wrecking my brain here. I mean, the Liberty
Mm.
last three games have failed to reach 80. Out the gate, they were scoring like 95 plus every single game. And the Mercury, every single game, has really reached 170, minus the last one versus the Dream. I don't know here. Uh the total's going down, but I don't really trust the Mercury defense. I don't know. Maybe it's just a game I have to, like you said, watch and come and play it the second time around. All right, let's move over to a game I do feel a little bit stronger about. Tempo and Sky opened up 3.5 for the Sky, now 5.5. Total's gone up from 167.5 as high as 172. For the Tempo, Alaman has been ruled out. Timmy and Izzy continue to be out. For Chicago, no Dejanay, Gabby, or Courtney Vandersloot. And the Chicago team just kind of falling apart here. Started with Rakia being out. Gabby's out now. I mean, they've been missing Dejanay, but this guy team that looks so good to start the year are looking so great on paper with their current injuries. One thing I do think is they should be able to score. When I look at their front court, I mean, 6'7", 6'6", and Azare can shoot too, but just really going up against smaller opposition. Savali is like 5'5", but um, it's 6'5" and 6'2" they're going up against. So I think that the Sky should be able to score in the paint, and I think that Sky are probably going to play drop coverage on the pick and roll, and Mabry can eat that up. Sykes probably can score in the mid range as well. I think that there's ways to get to over here. And also, both of these teams pretty well rested, going off poor shooting performances. I think that they'll shoot it better here today. Having a hard look at, I mean, I don't like that I'm late from the opener of 167.5, but 171.5 still seems doable. What say you, Rob Veno?
Well, I would agree on a couple of counts. Mabry and Sykes were absolutely tearing it up until the last game when they cooled off quite a bit. So I'm with you on a bit of a bounce back from those two, especially the Tempo is a team that's pretty much predicated on offense, Skee. It's not a lot of defense on that side. And I was surprised when I looked this morning to see that Chicago's number 3 in the league in tempo. And now that they're a little bit, it's not great to lose your top 2 small forwards, right? Your top 2 wings. You lose Rakia, who's an all-star in this league, and then Gabby Jaquez comes in and plays really well, and then you lose her. But they still have 3 players, although they're a little smallish in the backcourt now, but that can get up and down the floor. I would think that the game's played at pace, which helps us as far as point production is concerned, or at least scoring chances are concerned. And I do think that, I'm watching Cardoso early in the season. She looks like she's going to be a dominant force this year. Teamed up with Azare now really helps. I'm with you, though. I don't like the fact that it's already a 4.5-point jump in the number. Should have gotten there early. 67.5 probably was the right way to go. I was probably too focused on looking at side in this game that I wasn't paying attention to total, which is unlike me. And by the time you look up, you've lost a little bit of value. I still think the game could be high scoring. Like I say, Chicago's been up and down the floor. Do we trust the shot makers on Chicago, though? That's the whole thing. I do trust the interior, like you say, but that guard trio outside of Skylar Diggins, you can go cold a little bit. So you're going to need all the opportunities you could get. I don't know. It puts me in a bit of a quandary here. Guys, you got the opener. Congratulations. I think maybe you're right, but I don't know that I could take the risk now at this price.
So we're kind of seeing this one the same. Move over to the Dream and Lynx. Opened up -1 for Atlanta, now 3. Total open 163.5. We'll call the consensus now 166. Still no Bree for Atlanta. For Minnesota, Kosu's game time, still no fee and no Dorka either. Um, this is one where I did like and bet the over in this game. Um, I got the opener here, so I did get a little bit of CLV for whatever that's worth for people who love that. um, really, it just boils down to the Lynx are coming off of a really poor shooting game. Like they shot, I think 25% from three in their last game, and I mean they still were able to win and put up a decent amount of points. That just shows you the pace that they're playing at, and just how well they're executing outside of the 3-point shot. And when I look at the rookie edition they have, a lot of it has to be from her. She's playing really good. I like everything I see from her. She plays great tempo, like the coach says, and just really helping that Lynx offense. On the other side, they can be good defenders. They're the number one defensive rated team in the league, but they can also light it up, especially from distance. So I just think this total is a little bit too low. Like as far as the opener, at least for Minnesota, every game except for their last one cleared that. And the Dream, their games have been going under, but they've been higher totals than what we're looking at for today. So I think we got a decent number. I do think this one could get to 170. What do you think about Dream and Links, Rob?
All right, so we're fully aligned here on this one. They played this game to start the season. It went 91-90. I remember having the over in that game. Olivia Miles, who you mentioned, the rookie point guard, Notre Dame slash TCU out of college. If you saw her in college, you know what she's about. It's all for pedal to the metal all the time. I'll put it that way. She's going to go quick. And Minnesota has actually benefited from it, Skee. They're the third best shooting team in the league, despite the bad shooting performance last game. They're shooting 50% from the field. That's pretty good. And that's only third because Kelsey Plum and the Sparks are ahead of that, and the Aces are ahead of that. And Kelsey Plum, a week-long injury now. We'll talk about that next time the Sparks play. But when I looked, when you try and do your comparison shopping and you look, and you mentioned it, the Atlanta totals have been going under. And I bucked that trend here today because I just feel like there's only been 5 or 6 games played, but Atlanta's 2 best defensive efforts came against Dallas. And there's something about that matchup. Paige didn't shoot well either game. Atlanta bottled her up. There's something about that matchup that Dallas didn't play well offensively twice in a row. Even with one game of game tape, they couldn't correct it the second time around. So I think that maybe Atlanta's defensive numbers are somewhat skewed here because of 2 matchups against Dallas. The Lynx have been fairly good defensively too, but they're playing with pretty good pace. I think this one resembles the season opener, which was 91-90. I think both sides can score here. Both sides have multiple options that they can score with. And, I look at the Lynx, Skee, and I know to start the year, a lot of preseason previews because Collier was going to have an extended absence from the team because of injury. It kind of pushed the Lynx down a little bit, right? Power rating went down, sort of looked over. But they're playing really well. I'll tell you what, I think this one gets over the same as you. I think we probably see something in line with what we saw in their first matchup. Maybe not 181, but certainly something above 169. And all we're looking at here is 166.
All right, let's take a look at dropping dimes. She says under 166.5 for him, top 2 defensive rated teams in the W, right? So let me just do a little bit of logic school here. I mean, let's look at the last 4 games for the Dream, right? The number 1 defensive rated team. Total was 180, 171, 173.5, 168.5. Doesn't it seem like that might be already baked into the number when it's opening at 163.5 now? I think so. I think you're getting a bit big. I mean, 163.5 from 4 games ago, the total was 180. You know what I'm saying? I think it's pretty baked in. As far as the Lynx, look at their recent game: 178.5, 169, 173, 169. They did have a 166.5 in there versus Sky, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, everything is baked in. Would you agree, Veno?
Yeah, I tried to kind of outline it a little bit where Atlanta's concerned. I just think the Dallas matchup, and that's two of their games, their two best defensive games. Watching it the second time, there's something about it Dallas didn't like. So I kind of figure that the number is skewed a little bit there. Second thing is they played Phoenix. Phoenix just isn't a good offensive team right now. I mean, Alyssa Thomas and the rest kind of scattered shooters. The only other time they played a good offensive team was Las Vegas. They scored 85. Minnesota scored 90. Those games went 169 and 181. I just feel like when you stare at overall numbers with only 5 games played, they can be skewed. I think in Atlanta's case, defensively, they are. And I would also say this, Skee, Atlanta's just due to break out offensively. If you look at their team shooting percentage so far this year, it's like about 42.7. They've got a lot better shooters than 42.7 on that team. So Atlanta certainly can score. And where Minnesota is concerned, I tried to lay that out a little bit too here. The defensive numbers, though, I didn't really speak on their defense. Again, banged up Chicago. Toronto was at the end of a road trip, I think, in that one. Dallas, they gave up 86. Atlanta, 91. I don't know. They played this game once before. I think we're going to see the same thing.
And in that game they played, both teams shot less than 30% from three. We still got 181 points. The pace should be there
Pace,
tonight.
pace.
All right, let's move over to the next game. Mystics and Storm, another game we just saw recently. Um, for that reason, it irritates me to talk about it again. But and I lost on that game, so that's why it's irritating me too. I mean, this guy Storm didn't have anybody to protect the paint. I don't think they have anybody again tonight. But somehow the Mystics just can't take advantage. The Mystics just shoot so poor. I just think teams know just pack the paint because they can't shoot. Like I don't remember the last time the Mystics shot better than 30% from three. I don't know if they have this season. Um, last time these teams met, which was the other day, Storm shot 46% from three, and that's how they got the W. Can they do it again here? Will the Mystics finally be able to get inside? I'm not. I can't put my money on the Mystics. I like to think they can bounce back, but they're getting close to that list, Rob. Already. What do you think here, Mystics and Storm?
Yeah, I'm with you. I got caught up in that trap the other day. I bet Washington. I think in our summary, the transparency summary on Monday morning when we did the show, I talked about it a little bit. I thought for sure with Kiki and Shakira Austin up front that it was going to be, pretty much a party at the rim for that team. They would win on the interior. They did play well on the interior, but again, like you're saying, they just don't shoot. Except for Sonia Citron, it's hard to trust anybody else shooting on this team. Haven't shot well to start the season at all. I got lucky with them to win a bet opening day. I think it was against Toronto. It was one of the worst offensive games of the year, but somehow the interior play was good enough. I don't know. Ewafam is back. She played in that game the other day and scored 10 points, the third round pick, or excuse me, the third pick overall, first round for the Storm. So they do have a little bit of size now combined with Stephanie Dolson, but Stephanie Dolson's more of a, stray away from the basket 3-point shooter nowadays. I don't know. It looks like the same thing, and I just don't trust. Washington was favored in that game by about 2.5 and got bet all the way up to 5. And today we see them still laying 3 against Seattle. I don't like Seattle enough to bet that side. The 97 points that they scored the other day, I think, are an outlier. I'm thinking out loud here, Skee, like we do on the show. I'm just going to quickly check what Seattle's team total for this game is because I don't know that. Well, it's 79.5. I don't know. Something tells me this game's going to go under this time around. But Washington will probably shoot 60% from the field if I do that. So I'm better off leaving it alone.
Kind of feel the same as you, so I'm just going to keep it moving down the list. Sun and Fire is the last game we have. Opened up -4.5. Looks like 6.5. Totals come down from 169.5 to 166.5. Griner's been ruled out. Layla's still out, and nobody on the injury report for Portland. This is the fifth straight road game for the Sun. It's the first game home from I think think a 4 game road trip for Portland, 3 or 4 games, 3 game road trip, but they are coming from New York back to Portland. So I would say, even though the Sun have been on the road, they were just at Golden State. It's not that far. Maybe this favors the Sun a little bit more, but they've been so pathetic, man. I said, I really don't have any interest in betting on the Sun until Layla comes back because she's their best player. They need the point guard play, etc. Whatever you want to say, they need her desperately, and so that's why I can't push the button. But gun to my head, I would be taking the Sun plus the points here. What do you think, Vino?
Yeah, I wouldn't take the Sun with anybody's money right now, honestly. It's a bad team. The starting five is they're looking for combinations. Every time I look in the box score and I do this box score work, it's a different five for Connecticut as they search for answers. Don't really have any. The one thing I will say about Connecticut last game, Morrow came off the bench and played pretty well. But they just, again, this is a team without shooters, without any leadership, without any rim protection. It's so hard when you don't have a point guard or a rim defender. That's like your worst nightmare as a team. And Portland will at least, again, that's the thing that scares me a little bit about this game is that Portland's first game home off a long road trip, and they just beat the Liberty, which is kind of a celebration type game if you're Portland. But they're going to walk out there tonight in front of a packed arena because Portland is like a college atmosphere this year as the expansion team, and the fans are supporting them really well. And even if they get off to a slow start, which I think is what happened with Golden State the other night against Connecticut, they got off to a slow start, and when push came to shove, 40 minutes were played, they won by 27. And it's just like Connecticut can't last 40 minutes against anybody right now. So if I had to play, I would be the other route. I would be on Portland. The one thing, again, that scares me a little bit is the fact that it is their first game home off of a road trip, and it was cross country, like you say, without much rest. They just played the other day, and they're back at it at home after a 3,000-mile trip. So, but they're certainly the better team right now, and they'll play. They'll have more energy than Connecticut will fifth road game in a row.
Yeah, I'm staying away from that one. I am out of that one, Vino. Um, that'll wrap it up for us here. So before we do best bets, let's do some of these promos. I know it's not NBA today, but we're still gonna put the best promo up out there. Double the NBA Core Vision, 3 days for $59. There are games coming up. There's a game tomorrow. If you want to get ahead, this is a good way to do it. Um, Outside of that, I'm gonna put this up. If you buy my WNBA, you get the rest of the playoffs for free. And we've talked quite a bit about how well we've been doing. So that's a couple things that I want to put up there. Vino, I'm gonna pass to you and ask if there's anything else you'd love to promote. Feel free. And if you have anything, you want to leave as a best bet for the show, we love to hear it. If you don't, don't let them bully you.
You know, I was going to start this show, Ski, the way that you sometimes do in the middle of the show. You just tell me I have to stop for a minute and I have to address something. And I was going to address something at the top of the show, but I just thought better of it. Happy to be off to 3-0 yesterday. NBA back on track. Do have a WNBA play up and available right now. Top play of the day. You heard me and Ski talking here. We align on a lot of things here tonight. Listening skills are important on this show. But I will, you know what? I'll do I'll do the chat a favor, and I'm going to tell you up front that I'm on the brink of playing this game myself, but I haven't yet. So take that for what, because we usually say we won't give anything out unless we've already played it. But I do think that this Toronto Chicago game is going to be a high scoring game, Ski. And went to the chop it in half type of deal. And I'm going to probably end up playing the first half over 84.5. I just think the pace is going to be there with these two. I think there's enough scores on both sides to get it done. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. It's kind of a half of a best bet because it's not out of my pocket yet. But again, you guys take it for what it's worth. I like the Toronto Chicago first half over 84.5. Would have been full game if I hadn't missed the boat. Should have been paying more attention there.
And for me, I'm going to leave a best bet today. Before I do, man, if you want to get the WNBA, season, you get the rest of the playoffs for free. And I am plus what 56 units now in the playoffs, and I have a 5% for tomorrow's game. So that's a good way to take advantage of that. Now, with that said, if you don't have those listening skills that Rob Veno talked about, my best bet is going to be over in Atlanta and Minnesota. I mean, I said I got 163 and a half. The best number I see right now is 165 and a half. I still think this one is going to touch 170 for the reasons we talked about earlier during the show. So I'll leave that as a best bet. And yeah, we'll end it like that. So, Vino, always appreciate you breaking down the games with me. Helps my process. I'm sure, helps everybody else as well. Chat, we appreciate you all. Best of luck on your action, and we will catch you guys tomorrow.